Today we will share with you a few different stories in this episode. About 2 years ago, I made a mistake that still scares me. To this day, I was driving home late at night. After a family reunion, I didn't stay over. I had work the next morning. The drive was nearly 2 hours long. Most of the road was surrounded by thick trees and heavy bushes, the kind of road that feels wrong at night. About 45 minutes in, I suddenly felt exhausted, not normal tired. The dangerous kind. I tried everything, music to cold air, even slapping my face. Nothing worked. There were no rest stops, no gas stations. Only darkness surrounding the road. Onto the grass, I hid my car, behind thick bushes. So no one could see me. Cars were still passing by. I checked the time. 11:22. Then I fell asleep. I woke up to a scratching sound, very light, very soft. I checked the clock, 11:50. The sound stopped. I was still exhausted, so I ignored it and fell asleep again. The second time, I woke up terrified. The scratching was louder, slower, intentional. I checked the time again. 12:40, almost an hour later. The sound didn't stop this time. It moved along the side of my car. Animals don't do that. I looked in the rearview mirror, just for a second. I saw something tall run into the forest, too tall to be an animal. My heart started racing. I started the car and drove away immediately. Just around the bend, my headlights revealed something. A car parked on the side of the road, the driver's door wide open, no one in slightly. Then I checked my mirror. Nothing. Suddenly, a man appeared, running toward my car, screaming, "Hey, get out of your car, now." There was panic in his voice, but also anger. I didn't stop. Pregazon sped away. I never saw him again. I made it home. I didn't sleep that night. And sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't woken up. Or worse, what if the screen to wake me up? My older cousins Harry, Billy, and Arthur used to fill our heads with the history of the place. They told us about the bank robbers from '64, nasty pieces of work. The story went that after a heist went bloody, they crawled into that Waterhouse to hide. 6 months later, the coppers found them. But they weren't just dead, they were woven into the pipes. The legend was that the building didn't like intruders, and it had turned those men into something else entirely. We all laughed it off during the day, but when you stood near that place, the laughter died in your throat. It was one of those stifling August days where the air feels like a wet wool blanket. We were all being little terrors, so Harry, Billy, and Arthur, who were basically our guardians, decided to take us 5 younger kids blackberry picking. We had to pass the Waterhouse to get to the good bushes. I remember the sound of my wheelchair's wheels crunching on the dry grass. Then suddenly going silent as we hit the dead zone around the building. No birds, no bugs. Just a low, metallic thrumming coming from the earth. We made it to the fields, filled our buckets, and even managed to forget about the building for a while. But as the sun starting turned bruised, sickly orange pihek. The air had turned close. You know that feeling before a massive thunderstorm, heavy and electric. As we reached the fence by the Waterhouse, Billy was lifting me out of my chair so Harry could pass it over. Suddenly, Arthur stopped. Arthur was the joker, the one always pulling stunts, but he went bone white. He was staring straight into the darkness of the Waterhouse doorway. Something moved in the back of their groove, Arthur whispered. His voice was guarded, stripped of all its usual cheek. Drop it, Arthur, Billy snapped, but he was fumbling with the wheelchair. He was scared too. No, I'm going to have a look. I don't know what possessed him. Maybe he wanted to prove it was nothing. Arthur squeezed past us and took 3 steps toward that black opening. He leaned in, peering into the tangle of rusted pipes and stagnant, rising water. Then it happened. A shriek ripped out of the building. It wasn't human. It sounded like wet leather being torn apart, mixed with a drowning man's cough. Arthur scrambled back, tripping over his own feet, his eyes wide enough to show the whites all the way around. Run, Harry screamed. It was pure chaos. Harry grabbed me and threw me over his shoulder. I could feel his heart hammering against chest. Billy chopped up, and we bolted. I was bouncing on Harry's back, looking over his shoulder at the receding Waterhouse. And that's when I saw it. Something pulled itself out of the shadows and crouched in the doorway. Itwagong, covered in matted, swampy hair that looked like it was dripping with oil. It didn't have a face so much as a collection of wet features, but the eyes, God, the eyes. Tewe rouge, glowing yellow orbs, like to sulphurous lamps. It watched us with a hunger that felt centuries old. Don't look back, don't look back. Arthur was sobbing as he ran alongside us. We didn't stop until we hit the estate road. We were gasping, covered in scratches and sweat. When we got back to the house, Mama and my auntie were waiting. They saw our state, the empty buckets, the torn clothes, and asked what happened. Harry looked them dead in the eye and lied. He said a tramp had jumped out of the bushes and spooked us. He did it to protect us, I think. If the adults knew what was really out there, they'd never let us out again. Or worse, they wouldn't believe us and we'd feel even more alone. I'm an adult now. The Waterhouse is still there, crumbling into the mud. They say it's too expensive to tear down because of the old piping system, but I know the truth. Every time I see a pair of yellow lights in the distance or smell stagnant river water, I'm back on Harry's shoulder, praying that the thing with the yellow eyes stays exactly where it is.